one thing that I stumbled upon today or earlier was social proof. And social proof is linked to self-worth or social worth.
Okay.
And then it's linked to another thing that I've used in the past, invest in loss. So invest in losing.
Invest in losing? What's that about?
Well, one thing I have to understand is my background is I grew up in Amway. So at age 19, I got into Amway and I was fully active and very devoted to it for 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
And Amway is a
Pyramid
failure
scheme.
practice. It's a practice to put you out there where you lose all your friends and you lose all your group and you constantly get rejected. And I had that at age 19 up to 25. But I have to remind myself that most people I'm working with do not have years of rejection or years of
Yeah.
failure practice, losing practice, so they have more sensitivity to setbacks, where I can just keep going because I've been hardened by rejection or failure.
Yes. You've mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm.
So for 7 years, you were immersed in Amway,
In this like
and
subcult.
and eventually you always are going to run out of clients because it's a pyramid scheme, and pyramid schemes always run out, don't they?
Well, it's still going. It's just I didn't have the social skills and the capacity to keep it going, or the maturity to understand how to hold the group together. Plus, my organization also fell apart from above me, so there were multiple
Yes.
factors.
So the point you're making is that I guess maybe most people fail at Amway to make a living, as it were, out of it.
Sure.
And you're saying that failure, instead of making you, the experience of failing didn't make you more sensitive to failure. It made you, in some ways, less sensitive to it. You were inured to it.
Uh, well, some people get into Amway and then they quit after the first setback. So it's not everybody who gets into it learns how to fail. Um, so even though I failed in Amway, I was able to learn how to work on myself. I was able to learn how to create a habit, how to be focused, how to try to pursue my dream. So
Hmm.
the skills I learned, even though I failed at that goal, I was able to translate it into other domains.
Okay. So all in all, it was really a positive thing for you.
Yes, but that ability to stick with a loss or to just keep
Hmm.
going in failure,
Hmm.
that's something I learned that's hard for me to
Hmm.
teach other
Hmm.
people. Because if other people haven't had that uh, prior experience of being on a losing team and just keep going, or training through musical scales and keep going,
Yes.
they
Yes.
just don't
Okay.
have the stick-to-itiveness.
Yes. To get over the hump, as it were. So, um, why are we talking about this now, and how is it relevant to you this week?
Well, tomorrow, Richard Grannon, he's been teaching and helping people online mental health for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
And one of the pitfalls of online self-help is with mental health, you can fool yourself. You can tell yourself you've arrived and you've recovered from your pain without
Okay.
social proof. So people who haven't
Oh.
invested in loss, who haven't gotten over the hump, they can lie to themselves to feel good, which works, but it doesn't mean that you've gotten over your trauma.
So that's we got to this through the idea of social proof.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know what social proof means. I would guess it means how many likes you have in Facebook or something. But
Well,
what
that's false
does it
social
mean?
proof. That's also, see, so we've been programmed by how many likes and views we get on Facebook. I talked about that last week or a week before, where I even got hooked on YouTube's statistics to get social value.
Yes, yes,
If I have more looks on my video, that means I matter. But that's a lie.
yes.
That's a shell game.
Okay.
So part
What?
of the social proof is if I can prove myself that I'm somewhat equal or somewhat as skilled at mental health with Richard Brannon as someone that I sort of admire, that would equate some level of social proof to me of an actual fellow traveler who sees me as an equal or something.
Okay. So, so you're going to have, you said Richard Brannon is
Yes.
going to be a guest facilitator with you tomorrow.
Guest interviewer or guest speaker or something.
Guest speaker.
Well, he'll
And
be the main topic. Yes.
so, I mean, basically, he himself will be the main topic.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Um, so, how does that help the people that you're working with?
Well, they're just here to be entertained, so that doesn't really matter how much I'm
He will
going to help
entertain
them.
them.
He'll entertain them. I can entertain them. That's not a big worry. I'm just trying to see, can I get more juice out of this opportunity tomorrow? So I'm playing
Okay.
different angles. And one thing that's missing in social media is social proof. So you can do the work, but you don't really know how solid your results are because it's not tested under live fire. You're doing your
Ah,
journaling and your mental health work and you're talking in a secure area with your whatever, but you're not fighting your abuser. You're not actually testing it under stress.
mm-hmm.
Like if you're playing a performance, you can play the violin at home, but
Yes,
playing it in front of like a giant stage where your butterflies are going
it's
with other
different.
people, that's a lot more different. So being able to
Right.
accomplish that to a satisfactory level to you and to your peers and the audience, that's a higher level of
Okay.
social proof.
Okay. So, how does that impact you?
Well, it's something that I'm sort of missing on my mental health path is I've hacked the territory, faced trauma, gotten somewhat stable, but I haven't really. It doesn't feel like I've gotten the social proof yet. I don't have the elders who have said, "Okay, you've made it. You sort of arrived. You have it." Mostly, when I share my insights from trauma, it intimidates most people who reflect the opposite, where they say, "I haven't made it. I'm wrong." And I get the opposite of social proof.
So, is social proof a good thing? I mean, are you, as it were, advocating that people find social proof?
That
And
might be
does
the
it?
missing element in our society. In the past, we had initiations and clubs and hazing, and then you'd arrive by passing whatever the test. Now we have the degree, maybe the house, and whatever these other financial achievements, but they don't give you the feeling of a social place. They don't give you a feeling of I've made it.
Mm, mm, gosh, I was watching a documentary this morning while I was writing about James Baldwin.
James Baldwin. Okay.
I don't know if you know him, but somewhere on the video, I think he's saying that the reason why Americans are so racist is because is somehow the result of the emptiness of the American dream. The American dream is a total sham, and that doesn't satisfy anyone at a deep level.
Yes.
I'm wondering if if social proof is is genuine, or whether it simply is like the American dream. It's kind of very shallow when you
But the
and you
American
don't
dream
even
is
realize it when
shallow
you're so desperate to be immersed in it.
because it's a dream. It's advertising. In Amway also, we got to see through the American dream at age 19. You work till you're 65, then you retire and whatever, but by then you're so old and in debt, it's not a dream. So
Yes,
the
you
American dream
can't.
was shattered in my mind at a young age. So then I was like, well, how do I get free from being a wage slave? So I was able to achieve that American dream.
Okay.
But now that's not enough. I want to get some level of social place, something in roots in the society where my suffering can be useful uh, to others. in a
Okay.
very rooted way, or tribal leadership. So same sort of territory, but just the nuance of social place, social proof.
Huh. So I'm trying to understand. Um, so this is something that's meaningful for you, right? It's not just something you're advocating for your group tomorrow. You're saying that no, for you, it's a measure of where you're going and how far you've come.
It's a measure socially. It's a
It's a
measure in
metric.
society. It's something that probably everybody needs, but we're our current society uses so much advertising that we just mess with the feedback. We don't have objective social proof.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
sports, we do, but in music, there's
Okay.
probably some objective.
In
Yeah,
music,
but in
yes, we.
social interactions, friendships, you don't have that. People just disappear or they show up. There's no objective assessment on how
Okay.
solid your social place is with other people.
So this is something that you're striving for. You're looking for, and you'll be satisfied um, to find out, as it were, what your score is. It's a bit like having um, what do you call it? You
A
know,
social
your
credit
credit score
score.
or something. It's a kind of a social credit score.
They're trying to do that in China, so it's
Uh
a
huh.
metaphor. It's more so a social place where something that about you and your investment is valued in society, has a
Ah,
place.
ah, okay,
But first, you want to prove yourself that you matter. Then you go to a social
okay,
place. But if you
okay.
don't prove yourself, you don't know. And other people haven't told you, so you're just sort of floating
Well,
in this sort of where do I
I think
matter? Where do I exist in society?
I think my question that I'm trying to ask is this for you a theory? Because I know how interested you get with ideas and how adept you are at getting inside them and understanding them. But this isn't just an idea for you. This is a reality that you're living in, moving in.
This is a reality, and this is a reality that I'm sensitive to,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
think is also
Okay.
universal.
And it will work for you. You believe you feel it will work for you. It will be a there will be a payoff.
Uh, that's later. Right now, I'm just mapping
Okay.
too
All
far
right.
ahead. Let's see what Eugene saw
All
for
right.
today.
Thank you.
Um, the coach Peter, a lot of probing, questions. So to me, in terms of the coaching session, it went well. And as I was listening, and I was just thinking to myself, I said, probably this will be, if I were in Peter's shoes, this is one of those sessions where I will ask the coachee if he will expect to get what he will expect to get out of the conversation. If there's anything that but the time limited of the conversation, to me it was a back and forth, and I heard Peter asking a lot of powerful questions that landed well with Diff, if I can just tell by his body language. So that's
Peter, what was your perspective?
Um, the conversation, I have to say, made me feel a little uncomfortable
Good, because
because
the
to the
topic
extent
is uncomfortable.
it's uncomfortable for me. And maybe it's uncomfortable because, on the one hand, I like to have a bunch of friends on Facebook, um, and yet I feel like when I look at it straight on, I'm not convinced that it has anything to do with with where I want to be. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with my spiritual life. That
Hmm.
that's the feeling. It doesn't have that deep rootedness feel, and so to that extent, I don't get it. And and I was trying very hard not to be negative in my questioning and not to kind of throw that kind of negative feeling out, because I wanted to know how you felt about this idea of social proof, and I don't know that I was successful. Okay, maybe I'll say more about that when it's my turn to be coached.
So since I was first, I was more free to try to give something more juicier. But your response of holding back your negative, that was more accuracy on me pointing out an issue that's neglected in society. Because
Yeah,
everyone feels the need, but we don't have the words or the metaphors or the
yes.
platform to talk about it. That's sort of, so that's the big goal.
Okay.